Thank you very much for joining us. Today we're having an open debate. So if you've got questions, send us your questions, and I hope you're going to enjoy our debate, and hopefully all the information will be available after our debate. So we're just going to go right into it. It's going to be a free-flowing debate, and we're going to talk about a lot of information, and I hope you're there taking notes. And if you've got questions, don't be shy. Ask your questions away. So I think one of the things that we started on, and I think this is what really got me to grab this, was what you said about having like a soulmate or friends with whom when you have a conversation you feel like recording
it. Yeah, because I get it like with my female friends, like we always say we should do a podcast. Yes. I'm like, first of all, I hate my voice on record. Please do not record me because I would die.
Yes.
Simple as. But I want to have a companion, and I always use the word companion because like soulmate and husband is too
yeah, absolutely so overrated.
But I want to have a companion where I want to be able to record my information. Like I want to have discussions, one that make my brain expand like I would with you guys, or with like you know my more intellectual friends.
Yeah. But
I want to have that all the time, and I want to feel like recording it myself. Do you know what I mean? Yes. I want to be like, oh my god, this is an amazing conversation. Because when we hear this again, because you know Johnny was saying something before. I didn't know you record. Johnny said something before, and I had to close my eyes and hear it, because sometimes I can't listen with my eyes open, so I have to like close it so that it stays engraved in my head, so that I can rewind it a couple times and then hear it back, so that I can now understand it. Because when someone says something, primarily I don't fully understand it straight away, so I have to close. I have this thing where I have to close everything and just record. It's something my brain does really naturally. I can't explain it. And I had to record it, and I was like, I felt like going Johnny rewind, and then I couldn't. You know, I'm like, play that back real quickly. So I had to like play it back as I'm listening to him, and then in order for me to fully grasp it and respond correctly, because when I'm talking to you guys, it's not about, I don't talk to respond. I talk to more intake information and then relay what I understood from it. Like when he was saying the 0 and 1, I never knew that the most I didn't know that. But when I was studying psychology myself, I was like, how I understand that the brain is made out of 2 compartments. I get that. But for you to say that it is 2 separate things, it's impossible, because one, it is conjoined. You can't actually separate the brain, and not a single human being can live with half a brain. Correct? So therefore, you can't just have one brain. You know, you can't just have 2 brains.
You can have one kidney.
Yeah, you can have one kidney because they're completely separated. However, the brain wasn't made like that. And she was like, no, but you know, you have to use your left side. And then she was trying to explain to me, you know, the process of brain. And I'm like, that's not the issue. I understand that, but the way you're understanding it and the way I'm understanding it are different. I understand it as the brain is one, and you need one side to work with the other in order to make me. And I can't live without one side of my brain. And if the ties were severed, I'd simply have brain damage and I wouldn't be able to function as I do now. Correct? And she said yes. So I was like, so we don't have 2 brains. We have one brain and we use 2 compartments of our brain. And she was like, for logic's sake, yes, but no. And I was like, but it can only be yes, because either yes or no. And everyone in the class was like, Rachel, what are you arguing? Because no one understood. And I was like, I understand what I'm trying to say to you guys, and you guys are making it seem like I'm being nonsensical and crazy. And yes, I am a specific learner, but what I'm saying makes perfect sense to me. And what you're saying, I can understand it, but it's incorrect.
It's a set. I would say it's a set. It's not too
correct. But when Johnny said it, he first mentioned it to me yesterday. Sorry, I screamed. When he first mentioned it to me yesterday, I was like, oh my goodness, that would explain psychology. It would be like, because everything, I'm spiritual, but I have to connect it to everything I've ever done. Even when he was talking about the filaments, I was like, human cell, okay, go. I was like, okay, nucleus, filaments in the cytoplasm. When the 2 filaments cross, a burst of energy is released into the cell. And this is how I had to intake the information myself, but I can't like say it out loud. Like I can't. So I have to close my eyes and imagine all of these things. You know, I have to imagine everything that you say to me in a specific manner in order to digest it, and then reliterate.
Yeah.
In a way that I understand.
Knowledge is something that knowledge comes from science, that's observation. As it is for me, is to be for any living being existing. It can't just be me walking in this way. Other people, other things work differently, you know. What we talk about truth, you know, truth means law. Okay, the law of the universe, that's the truth. And the law of the universe is equal for everything.
Yes.
It can't be someone who has its own law. No, it's for everything existing. And then the white world end up into what they call the rationalization, and with the Hellenist movement, they go into rationalization, and they've been kept prisoner of the rationalization part. So in the rationalization part, you know, if is in the action, okay, I can't do the doctor and the priest at the same time. I need to choose. Now I'm doing the doctor, okay, and later on I'm gonna do the priest. Okay, that's in the rationalization process, which they call the accomplishments. One outside, or what they call the left side of the brain. But there is not really the left side of the brain. There is a source, an origin, and accomplishment, and that movement go back on. So the white civilization grow into that part, and where they try now to rationalize everything, why they are things that can't be rationalized because they can't go back.
I liked what you explained earlier on. If you can maybe re-explain it again, because when you were talking about the 0 to 1, basically the source to the realization, and how, like how, for example, a politician or like a doctor or a priest should be able to, once they go home at night or whatever, go back to the source.
When you leave the building.
Yes.
Because the source give a certain emphasis. Okay? For example, now, from the source, I calibrate myself to become a minister. That go into the action. I do the action. Once the action is finished, I'm not that anymore. I need to go back.
Energy.
You know, being one with everything. We can't be a doctor alive or a minister alive because we are the source. And the source, from the source, we act into the physical world. When our action is finished, we go back becoming the source. And this is one is tried in the Kemety psychology as the Amon-Ra. When you say Amon-Ra, Amen is the source, what you can't see. What the occidental psychology call the negative force is not negative force. Is the not even neutral, but is the source, just the source. It contains in itself everything, all the probability, all the potentialities there, but it's not expressed, unexpressed, undifferentiated.
Absolutely.
So now, when it goes out, it becomes Ra, the sun. Ra, the sun is something you can see. It's there.
Yes, it's life.
So that the life, that accomplishment. Amon-Ra, that when I talk about the brain, I say Amon-Ra is the brain. Because I don't say right and left, I say Amon-Ra, the brain, because you have the source, the origin, and the accomplishment. And this thing show us the way of life. So what's for example, the process of day and night show us the way to live.
Exactly.
At night, that means I go back to the origin. You don't do nothing now. You sleep. Your body's there. Because you're in the origin now. You elaborating information on what to come into Ra. You go into Amen in the night. In the day, you go into Ra. Now you go into Ra is for action. It's not the time for thinking. Now, thinking is a disease. Because we think when we go out of body. When we go out of Ra, the body, we go into thinking process. But the thinking process is the only the nature, I mean, the creator, the source, the God thinks. Or as part of him, we think as unity. So when we have finished the thinking as unity, we come out and you act as individual. But why are we acting? We're acting as individual to accomplish what we thought as source, as one. So there is no need of law enforcement. Because our action from doctor to constructor is going for one goal. So the problem is that when we exclude ourselves from the source, we need a proper thinking, and that a moment we have individuality kicking in. And individuality comes with ego, and ego comes with distraction. Distraction is a symptomological signal that we have been cut off the source now. I call it fall out of grace. People might think that falling out of grace means that you're not praying, you're not believing in God anymore. No, it's when
the angel fell from the sky.
The angel falling from the sky, actually, they mean that you have lost the wings. Okay, and how the sky is dark. Falling out of the car means falling out of the night, being in the day. So falling out of the car from the sky, you're falling from Amen. So you're just in Ra, one position, where you constantly need to move. I go Amen, and I come from Ra. I go Amen. When I go Amen, I think as one for everyone. With the thinking is one. We can't have two thinking process. When we think we have two thinking processes, we have thinking action. It's not the place of action to think. Action is to do. The thinking process is always. So now when you understand that, you see that religion and psychology is one thing. It's just the one thing. A deep level of understanding as the source and action as one. And when you do that, there is no need for you to fight for anything. Because whatever you got, whatever you need to do, you have it from you, because you got it from the night. When you've been sending the mission, you've been sending the mission in a Ra. When you become Ra day, you come with everything you need to do whatever you need. You are meant to do. When you finish, you go back. So when this goes at the understanding that fighting for your life, making things for your life, oh me, I need to see how personally I can go far. It's nothing. Have you ever seen the movie The Beautiful Mind? The Beautiful Mind is a very interesting movie. When at the beginning of the movie, someone see a very dead, very sick person. Okay, completely destroyed. But right at the beginning of the movie, everyone was coming to give him a gold pen as a reward for what achieved. There was that boy who looked, one day in my life, I want to be in that position, to be owner in this way. So, he started studying the guy and go through the process. So, actually, the boy who was watching the guy was the guy himself. So, they show us what he go through in his life. Was a life of suffering. Suffering and mental disease. When he was completely destroyed and crazy, everybody come to give him the pen of the pencil of honor. But the guy has been destroyed completely. So this is the ending game of achievement. As ego. When you achieve from ego, for me to be recognized, for me to be not forgotten, for me to be this, you end up in madness and disease.
Absolutely.
There is no achievement. Then when you understand that, you break the mystery of psychology and science and spirituality and religion. All of them are just one. You know, there is no someone can say I'm spiritual being. Me, I'm spiritual. Someone, oh no. Me, spirituality, I don't care about it. No. We are all in the same page. Every time, because if you can open the door of your house, you're spiritual. Because that process of being able to open, to lift your hand, to touch it, to open it, start from the spiritual part of you. So from the source, the origin. Without it, you're a robot. Without it, you can't even lift the finger.
Absolutely.
You can't lift a finger. Now, the society manipulation is about to stop you from being aware of it. Awareness is the key. You've been if you're abused, you don't know until someone tell you, oh, you know, this is abuse. You become aware of it. Oh, really? But you have been abused. For you, it was okay.
Absolutely.
Now, the difference is not in the doing. The difference is in becoming aware. Becoming aware of divinity is not going to church. Becoming aware of divinity is knowing exactly where we are and how we can use our everyday resources every day. We don't need to plan for tomorrow. When you plan for tomorrow, you get locked into the Ra. And Ra can provide you from tomorrow, and then you're gonna have no food. You're gonna suffer. You're gonna go to the bank to give you some money for tomorrow, giving you in more debt, putting in more debt. You don't need. You just need to go back into Amen.
Wow.
And come back into Ra.
You know what you said is quite amazing, because you mentioned before about the night, the difference between the night, and I know growing up they used to tell us la nuit porte conseil, which is like night brings counsel. In terms of if you've got an issue that you can't resolve, sleep on it and then see it with a fresher mind. Which is see it also with a fresher suit, because you change the perception. And in terms of like what we were talking as well, basically what we were talking about before as well, one of the things that really clicked on me was that thing of as a human, as an entrepreneur, and as a woman, often when I'm not playing a role, I am left feeling bored or left feeling like I don't know what to do, if that makes sense. But it's that moment that I realized like my problem is also the transition stage of like removing the suit. So it's almost like I'm lingering around with a suit of something that so if I have to do something, let's say, as in with the house, and then I keep that suit of the house while I'm working, I have the suit of what I should do in the house. So and vice versa. So if I haven't done something as an entrepreneur, for the business, or as working, when I come back home, during my downtime, where I should actually be, for example, I would say a free being, or like I should be in contemplation, I'm left now with the anxiety of that suit, but it's only because it's a case of a workman who has a dirty suit, literally. So while working or while doing an activity, you're taking on a charge, negative or positive. You should be able to have rituals that will enable you to, for example, come back home and have a transition, and transitioning slowly into that time of rest. Because that time of rest is important, but then again, you need to transition into it easily. So you need to remove the suit first of all, come back to being just that person that's there to learn, or the
consciousness,
in order to become part of the consciousness, to be re-nourished by the consciousness and be one with the consciousness. And then in the morning again, you have to have an equal routine as well to enable you to then wear the adequate suit for whatever you want to do that day. And I think that's something that and now I realize like a lot of the anxiety, because you mentioned it as well in terms of procrastinating, and we were talking about
having the suit on prolonged time in the suit would give you procrastination, because you're meant to have downtime. And there's a reason. Johnny was saying something, and I just said loss of energy, which was constantly being in rut.
That's fine.
And constantly being in Ra, and constantly being in Ra would relinquish you of energy, because going back to Amen is a state of pause. It's almost a state of clarity and calmness. And rejecting is like not going back to Amen. Is like going back. It's like not sleeping. It's simply not resting. So you just literally open my mind. Constantly having the suit on will make you. The reason procrastination is there is because, bear with me because I'm just understanding this now. Is because you have the suit on for so long, and you know you're meant to take rest from the suit. You know you're meant to take off the suit, but because you don't take off the suit, now you're like, oh my goodness, I have to be in this place because I have the suit on. I have to be in this specific place right now, and I'm not there. But I want to rest. And your body's like, I want to rest. You're not giving me rest, and therefore we're going to just not do what we're meant to be doing, and which is the state of procrastination, and thus overthinking, because overthinking is when you have too much time. Absolutely. Unless you think overthinking one moment like me, you're just insane. But yes, because and another thing, when I was traveling here, right, I was late because I was waiting on someone to put money into my account. I had thought they had already done it, and for some reason I was like, I have a checklist sometimes because I'm a bit slow. So I had to check my bank account, and I just saw 0. And I had also 0 in my savings because that was the money I borrowed. I lent it to someone. And I was freaking out. And usually when I freak out, I stay at home. Before I even leave my house, I get anxiety. to leave the house. So I had just gone over this anxiety. Now I have new anxiety that I have no money to travel. And I'm like, if I miss this coach, I would literally, like, I got an amendable ticket, but I would literally cry because I'm like, 6 a.m. in Glasgow, I have to be in Glasgow. And I'm with a girl that I don't completely trust. And her energy's up and down for me. So, and she had helped me. She gave me the £10 and she was with me. And I was like, oh, you know what? If she's putting some kind of block on me, because a part of me feels like that, like an energy stopping me. So I was like, if she's putting some kind of block on me, I will book it. Forget it. I was in Gillingham at like 9:30 and that was the time I was meant to be on the train to London. And I was like, you know what? At 6 a.m, because I thought my coach was arriving at 6 a.m, I said, at 6 a.m, I'll be in Glasgow tomorrow. I don't care what happens in this moment. At 6 a.m, I'm going to be in Glasgow. That's it. I'm not going to take the 8 a.m. bus. I'm going to be, at 8 a.m, I'm going to be in Glasgow. That's it. So I got on the train and I slept because I was tired. I took a nap because if I don't take a nap, I just panic. I panic. So I said, you know, I'll take a nap. I took a nap. I woke up from the train and the train was delayed. So by the time I woke up, because I have this thing in my head, I wake up right before my stop all the time. So I woke up at the right time for my stop. However, I saw where I was and I said the train got delayed even more. So I checked their website and I was delayed by 5 minutes. And that was all of the time that I had to go catch my coach. And I had 3 luggages, of course. So I was just like, you know what, Rachel, you already said you're going to be in Scotland at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. So in this moment, all you have to do is do the action that will get you to Scotland in the morning. Mm-hmm. Either way, whatever you do, you're going to be in Scotland in the morning. So I already said this to the universe. I said this to God. It's going to happen. So what I did was I went to Golders Green. I checked. I was like, you know, maybe it stops at Golders Green. I saw that it did stop at Golders Green. And Golders Green, it takes 28 minutes to get to Golders Green by tube. And it takes half an hour to get there without traffic on coach. And I was like, I didn't look at any delays. My phones wasn't working on the ground. I was trying to refresh. I said, you know what, put your phone in your pocket, put music on. I got to Golders Green with 15 minutes to spare because the coach was late. And then at 8 a.m, I was in Glasgow walking around town lost because I couldn't find the 41. And, you know, this whole process right here had made me realize that. Because the moment I decided not to focus on time, not to focus on delays or anything, to just get from point A to point B, and then when I got on the coach, relaxation. I didn't care. My friend who obviously owed me money was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Did you get on the coach? I said, you know what? Boat on the bridge. Send it when you can. I'm on the coach. I'm in Glasgow. I don't care. I don't care. And, you know, it's so wonderful because your body knows these things. Like, you know, the left side and the right side. It knows about the origin and the product. However, it's human. It's your human bit. And society, in the way that, you know, we're brought up, that's gotten in the way of that translation. Because we were talking yesterday about how animals just know they have to do things. They can count. We were talking about maths. Yes. Animals can count, but they wasn't taught to count. You know, because it's something you need to be taught per se. You know, there's more than one. Oh, there's one.
Babies at the age of 2 naturally count things and classify things.
Exactly. They don't need and it's something your body does naturally. And you know, so like without this information, we can function, but it's the way society runs us. It strips these things away from us so that we're left boxed into Zulu. What was it?
Boxed into
Ra. Yeah. And we're always moving, which describes your state of anxiety, describes your level of stress.
The need of energy, because the right is energy.
And when you sleep and you wake up tired, it's because you have your suit still on, you know? And I didn't realize it until, like, you know, as you was talking, I had revelations. And this is what I was talking about, as I want to have a companion where I want to record our conversation. Because I get I get stopped from conversations like this often. Obviously, I only mostly have intellectual people. Older people, people our age don't care. Yeah. So I get stopped from these conversations, and therefore and my brain takes a longer time to make certain connections. However, when I'm here, I can make. My brain's working at this rate.
The growing space.
Yes, and I go to sleep, and I wake up, and I feel rested. I went to sleep. I didn't set an alarm. I have insomnia, so I sleep late. So I go to sleep, I didn't set an alarm. I woke up at 9:30. Usually I'd wake up at 10:30. And I used to wake up at 2:30 if I don't set an alarm, but that's because I used to sleep at 5 a.m. So over time, I just said, you know what, I'll start setting an alarm for 8:30 every day and wake up even for an hour. Even if I'm going back to sleep, I'll wake up, walk around and go back to sleep if I must, right? And then, but now I can just wake up at 9:30 and I do what I do. I eat small breakfast. And the time's changing on its own. But that's because I refuse to control it. I've done what I can do. And my mentality knows it. I've done what I can do. I've thought this plan up. I've executed the plan. And I removed myself from the plan because the plan is now over. And then voila, result.
That's why I called to go out of the inventory.
You see?
The body put us to go into inventory. But once you do it, the law of the eagle oblige you to do it, but don't ask you to stay there. When you do it, you remove yourself.
You remove yourself. And you know,
and that is actually moving from Ra to Amen. He always go back. He always go around at the same point, moving from Amen to Ra, Ra to Amen. That movement is very important. So when that movement is excluded, that's the beginning of all the disease.
Absolutely. It's like a full circle, but society made us do a semicircle or half a part of a circle. We don't complete the circle. You don't complete or even a linear line, and we dot back and forth. But that's extreme energy, because you think going around in a circle is a lot of energy until you start going back and forth and you realize, no, this is the real problem because I don't know when to stop. But going around the circle is like, it's automatic reset. Going back and forth, you choose not to reset because you're thinking, I need to go back. And when you're forward, you need to go. And when you're forward, you're like, I need to go back. When you're back, I need to go forward. You don't think about stop. However, in a full circle, there is a point in time where your body goes reset, just like time.
It's almost like, it makes me think about, for example, when people have anxiety, which you probably know a lot about, right? And it's about how there's that feeling of feeling like either you're feeling lost, you don't know what to do, you don't know where to go, and that's really what you talked about, the semicircle, because once you get to the end of a semicircle, you're like, oh, I'm not going to go backward, am I? Because I've just left all that trauma behind me. Really, I don't want to go. That's the least part that I want to go. I want to go forward, but feel like I'm evolving in the same time. But if there's a semicircle, then you're stuck. You have to go and revisit the trauma. Therefore, people are stuck in a loop in terms of like revisiting the trauma.
Exactly.
Whereas it's really the spiral of life. It seems like a circle, but at every step you're refreshing yourself. You go to a higher level.
Exactly.
You go to another level. You go to
and you know what
level.
The movement is? The movement is forward.
Yes.
Just like the movement of blood or air, there's only two. There's about two avenues. We can go backwards in a circle, but we would still have to make a full circle, right? So it's never backwards, it's just forward. And if we turn forward in a circle, you're just going forward, right? So there's no direction on a circle, and it is good for our spirit because of the way we live. We live in a certain direction. Everything has a certain direction. However, with lines and roads, linear thinking, you have to have two avenues. You have to have one that will take you forward and one that will take you backwards. However, when we do this full circle, even though we're always going from Amen to Ra, we always go full circle in Amen and Ra, Amen, Ra, Amen, Ra, and it makes a full circle all the time. We never go backwards and forward. We only ever go forward. But we don't realize that because it's like a broken mindset. And it's a broken mindset made of society, because like, if you're going from one state to another, aren't you really just going backwards and forward? No. If you continuously go from one state to another, you're really just going full circle all the time, and you're not running from finish line to start line. like a panicked dog chasing its tail.
Because when you get to the finishing line, what next? Once that's the thing about once you've gone through trauma, you've gone through a difficult situation, you get to the finishing
it's always
line,
that what's next, and therefore it just builds the anxiety.
The anxiety is stronger.
That is why, because you conceive your life into action. I get what I've done, because you think that whatever you're doing is for you. Whatever you're doing is for the cosmos.
Yes, it's for the...
Like a tree. Do you think the tree is there bothering, oh, today I produce too much oxygen, too much gas in this area, what am I going to do for tomorrow next? No. Because do you think a tree lives for itself? Tell me one thing in this life that lives for itself. It doesn't exist. So now, when you start thinking that I'm doing things for me, you go sick and unbalanced. So whatever you have done, when it's accomplished, you go back into amen. It's not for you. It's for everybody. As I say, you want to get prosperity is about how much you give, not how much you take in. People say, "Oh, in my account, the bank I have £10,000. I want to get more." This is not prosperity. You're gonna lose them. It's a law of the nature. It's not the bankster decided to steal your money. You're gonna lose it. You're gonna lose it because prosperity comes from the cosmos. When your cup is full, you need to start giving. You sip a bit for yourself and you start giving. Giving, and when it's empty, go back full anymore. That more or less the teaching that is directed about the communion, the Catholic communion. When they take the bread, they go around. It's not for eating the body of the God, the body of the Jesus. No, that's not. The thing is that the principle they took from the ancient culture was that I'm giving to you. And when I finish giving to you, it's going to go back empty, because next Sunday when you come, you're going to find it full again. And I'm going to give it one to you again. When it's empty, I put it back, it's going to full. That the principle. There was a teaching that they're putting into a ritual that the body of Jesus has nothing to do with the body of the Jesus.
You got to the point where in the ancient churches, again, it was that giving of like, everybody comes take a little sip, everybody comes take a little sip. But in the current one, contemporary one, the teaching has changed completely, where you have the priest or pastor pouring the wine and drinking everything himself. Really? And then these guys are watching, and then they giving you dry bread. That's what's happening now. And I think this is something, I'm not joking, and it's something that I only see in Congo. It was that, you know, sometimes you can come and in celebrations you can come and take some, but then, or at least there was always that thing of like, the priest was never drinking himself. He was drinking, always sharing it with a smaller group. Unless there was a big event where everybody was sharing. It's only when I went back to Italy that I realized that teaching was back to the original meaning. Why? Because in that way, it's mean like contemporary Christianity kind of originated from I mean, like, was morphed in there, meaning that it has taken a lot of the local values that became traditional or became, you know, values for everybody now. And that's what one of the things that we're talking about, how when we talk about globalism, it's actually a local value that becomes a mega value and then becomes a global value, but it works only for people. And that's when you go, like, when I went to Italy to study in Italy, ironically I went to see the Catholic Church, right? Because I was a Christian back in 2010 2011. I left a non-Christian because I realized it was their culture. And I realized now, I'm like, when I talk about especially the Catholic Church, I'm like, whatever that's happening there, it's your business. It's got nothing to do with me, because I've seen how all the practices made sense and enriched the culture, whereas it destroyed our culture. Why? Because that, in a sense, it's like now that element of the source, right? They know they took the source as saying like, okay, so all the human beings come from the black race, therefore the black race is our source. Therefore, if we want to take something, we have to take it from the black continent and take it from the black race. Whereas it's not so. Obviously, the black race can help you get closer to the source, because we are closer to the source, absolutely. But it's a case of like, it's not a forcefully taking; it has to be given.
Is that like the ritual called, for example, Halloween? Okay, where you see children going around asking for sweets. Okay.
Oh, Halloween.
It is also in Thai. Not, I will say, African culture or black culture, but I will rather say, and I can't be more in truth than that, the functioning of the cosmos. Okay. Where, for example, in ancient time we have party and festivity. Festivity was not for you to release your tensions. Festivity was a moment where you celebrate. What was the word of celebration? Celebration was that in a period of time, in a day, everybody gonna cook food and put out for everybody to eat. Why? The presumption of that is you have received something from the cosmos. Okay, so now for the cosmos to be able to have it for you, you need to share it. So there was party where everybody cook like their food, like it was given names to keep a vita party. When the keep a vita party was in the area, everybody cook the food or whatever they have and they put it. People are gonna come around, and you eat that. You go, you eat that. You sharing. When that system was destroyed, but we have a reminiscence of it in Africa. Where rich people, for example, they always organize party in their home. When they don't organize party, they don't even understand it. Just the body reminding the knowledge. That after you close a deal and you get paid, the money is not just for you.
Yeah.
The party is for you. The party you need to give back. The community, what they do, they organize party, everyone to eat. Or they use them. They should have been that the process of building a country.
Yes.
You get your money, okay? I say, okay, these 20%, with this 20%, I'm gonna finance the building of that school there. That makes that you're gonna have more. Oh, these universities are having problem with that. Oh, how many students do you have that not able to pay the fee? Oh, around 40. Okay, I'm gonna give you each year for 10 years money for 20 students, so that 20 students can study free for 5 years.
So you're guaranteeing as well the future.
Yeah, but you knowing that process. Prosperity is not about taking. Prosperity is about giving. So you see that in the Bible because that things come from us. That story of Jesus in the church with a woman who won't come with just with one penny something and give it. What the meaning of it? The story stopped there, but the following should be that the woman become wealthy.
Yeah.
Because what it gives even for the riches keep the money for themselves. He give his penny, gonna contribute even for any riches, gonna give a small fraction of penny from that money. That, as a result, his prosperity gonna grow.
And that I can say I personally experienced it when I was younger. When I was younger within the family as well, and I was like, I was the kind of person who it's not like I always should tell people it's not about the money. Yeah, it's about what you give. So I'll give like my time. I'll give my time, my energy to help you and stuff. My mouth, my words, my counsel, but also my money as well. And I was generous and I was giving to everyone. And then the people, and then when I would give, okay, you tell me I'll give back, but in reality, I always go with the patterns of if I'm giving something, I don't expect it back. Yeah. Because when I give you, I know that I'm giving you to enable you to do something. What I'm giving you and what you give back in reality, giving some money back is not actually. You should not give me back that money that I give you.
I should give forward.
Yeah.
You keep going forward. Never come back.
If you want, if you feel
talking about the road.
Never. In case you actually want to give me something, do not give me the same
thing that I gave you.
You have to give me something different.
That means giving forward.
You gave it forward. So that means the new chain started as opposed to breaking the chain. Because there's no back and forward. And then when I recently, a few years ago, we discussed it with Tina Gangura. And she said the same thing. And I realized it's something that was in us. Obviously, when I was giving, I'm not going to lie and say like, oh, I did it knowingly. But when I was giving, in my body, I felt aching. I felt bad because I'm like, how am I going to do it? But the minute it left, and that was it. You're okay. Yeah. You're like, it's like what you said. Give me back when you need it. Because that's not that money that you gave that person that's going to help you that minute. No. Another one.
I give an example. what education system is. Now, imagine that all the animals decide to write down the way of living. The lion write their own, so a lion do this, that the way you go through, you when he's hate, you do this. And ants, elephant write themselves. Okay? It's education for them because from them it go like intuitively it get passed down. Okay? But just imagine for a moment they write it down, any lion, any animal you need to go to school to learn what they are. That education is related to the functional body, anything on them, okay? Their weight, the way they move and stuff, the way they sleep. Now imagine that the elephants decide to implement the elephant education to all the animals. To have all the animals behaving like elephants, what we're gonna have?
You're gonna have small animals thinking that they can take all the space in the world.
Yeah.
Yo.
That's why
Simba, what's his name?
Timo.
The not Timo. It was a Timo. The
small one.
Nefer. Oh, it was Timo. Yeah.
Timo.
You know when he's small. And then the got fat. Fucking small. Oh.
Yes. That's why the wet education has become to us.
Yes.
Okay.
100%.
So now we say from Timo to the lion. So imagine the dragon behaving like a lion. Big problem.
Confusion.
Okay.
So the moment you roll, we're finished.
When we end up into the white education, it's exactly a dragon behaving like a lion.
Absolutely. Wow.
There are too much space that can be filled because the lion go on the sky and do much thing that a lion can do. So it's a limitation. That's why a system need to be implemented, and education system need to be taught culturally. That the problem we're coming from, that the problem we're solving. If we go to Africa, for example, you're gonna learn that even at ancient time, we didn't have two roads, as you say, one road. Okay, so but the one road can be run in both sides. Okay, but there is no one side going up and one side going down. It's the same road. One road. Some go up, some go up. You say, at that moment, there is inversion of direction. There is no way right and left. Is your destination.
And you do
and
understand.
The destination is always front of you. No one go back in a destination. It's always front of you. So now, when you put the street right and left, now there is going right, there is going left.
Absolutely.
You break everything. So now, the thing is that we can do that. Okay, in the level of action, into Ra, we can have that. It's not a problem. The problem is if we having it into Amen. I mean, if we don't move out from Amen, from Ra, we stay in Ra, and we get affected. We always need to give away the sweets when it's done, and come back a different sweet. When we become prisoner of the sweet, then we have a problem. Where we start fighting for space, we start fighting for food, we start fighting for things where there are more animals than human. Yeah? There are more animals than humans. No one of them goes sleep without eating. We are the only one who have a problem. We are too human in the earth. There is not enough food. We are the least.
The least.
And it's also because we're all like the society makes us all be like condensed into one point. You know, they want us to be all condensed in Glasgow. So you've got Glasgow that has like, I don't know, so many inhabitants. But then the next city along has like a few. So why don't we, all distribute ourselves equally? No. And I think one of the things that's very important is that shift, because many people initially, one of the things that I did was like, in order to stop that feeling of a void, was having a plan. But what I noticed with a plan is the fact that every day has its energy. As much as you can plan what you need to do for the next day, but you have to understand that procrastination even as well. It's understanding that if you can't do whatever you want to do today, really that should fall off your plan.
Yes.
Because the next human being or you tomorrow is actually a new version of you that's coming in realization in order to experience something different. So that being is not going to be able to do that. And this is somehow why procrastination becomes a problem as well. Because it's almost like you're doing a relay course. But that new you tomorrow, it's not feeling like running. It's not in the mood. So if you wanted to run yesterday, you should have done it. There's protection there. Don't make next you or force you do it.
The plane is a patching situation to solve the problem of you not coming back into Amen.
The what?
The
plan.
Having a plan.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
You know,
yeah.
Is that to stop to deal with the situation that you're not coming back on Amen. So you need constantly a plan. But the plan gonna go against you because the energy of the day changes.
Okay. Even throughout the day.
Yeah. And then you don't need a plan. You just need to go to back in Amen. Do something with the energy of it. When it's finished, you go back in Amen.
Obviously, this year has been relatively difficult for me, and once I decided that I was in too much pain, I wanted to move, and I wanted to make movements, so I made plans. So I had a diary, and in the diary I pre-made plans the night before, or I used to do it every Sunday. So I would plan the whole week, and I would plan, and I would put things in color, and I would color code because of course I love color. And I would color code the things that are not so important for me to do, the things that are extremely important for me to do, and the things that can go either or depending on my mood. And because your mood changes all the time when you're in a depressive or an anxious state. So in a day, I realized my moods change 3, 4, 5 times. I would wake up productive, an hour later I would want to do nothing, or I would do a bunch of work for 3 hours with no rest, and then I take half an hour's rest, and I don't want to do anything at all. I don't even want to think about it. Some days I would wake up and I don't want to work. I don't even want to leave my room today, so I'm going to stay in until I find it within myself to leave, because I also did the thing where I have to leave my house at least once in a day, whether it's for a 5-minute walk, a 10-minute walk, an hour. I don't give the amount of time I have to leave for, but I have to leave the house so that my internal clock can be on time. And basically what happened was I had to move it from planning it every Sunday to planning it the night before to planning it on the day, and then not to plan at all. Only because I realized, obviously over time I realized, it doesn't matter how much I planned the day before or if I planned the day before. It's nice to know the plan is there, but the moment the plan is there, I'm anxious. I have to do the plan. And if I go through a day where I'm like, no, today I'm not leaving my bed. Today I'm not leaving my bedroom. I'm not answering my phone. I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying in. I get in a stump that would sometimes lead to the next day. And I get into this unproductive stump, and I feel angry within myself and upset with myself because I can't do what I had planned to do, and it took a lot of trials and errors for me to understand that every day comes with its energy. You think, what do I have to do tomorrow? There's things I have, there's things you have to do every day. And then just aim to get at least those things done. And anything else, you can leave it.
I think the answer to that has been is the routine. It's important to have a routine.
It's really important. Like it's stuff like this. Like
routine means something you do without thinking.
You don't do without you do without thinking. Yeah. And
it satisfies that part of not you doing stuff, because we are meant to do things. Okay, so you need always to satisfy that part. If you don't satisfy it, if you stay, then the action is gonna break into you. So while you satisfy it, you do things. You set this. Okay, this settle. Okay, you're quiet. I remember when I was a kid, we used to see our parents on the Sunday, day of the break from the walk. What they do? They keep walking at home. They're gonna remove this, they adjust it, they go there, they adjust it. You never see them sitting. No, because we have been told for you to relax, you need to sit and doing nothing. This is wrong, because actually, sitting, actually, routine, relax.
Yes. Like I would clean.
Satisfy inside you and relax you outside. You don't need to sit. When you sit something procrastinating, you more time you want you develop is anxiety.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna start blaming yourself for not be doing this.
Why am I not doing this? Yes.
Why am I not doing this?
Yeah.
So this is not something to do. That's why routine is important.
Yeah. And going backwards, going from Amen to Ra is a routine that is innate within us, and it's very important. And we neglect it a lot because a plan is wonderful, and a routine is a plan that you have within yourself. You do it. You wake up, like my mother wakes up every day at 6 a.m. for no reason.
Yeah.
She'll just wake up.
Important.
The day she has nothing to do, she'll wake up, and whether she stays in bed or go downstairs, she'll go back in bed if she wants to go back to sleep, but she has to get up. And it's important to have your own routine, but to make plans if you are in a state of constant Ra, it's dangerous.
Very dangerous.
It's dangerous because it doesn't even allow you to go back to Amin. And the moment you go back to Amin, and the moment you go back to Amin, you kind of take the disruption with you, because it's like the longer you stay in Ra, right? And I'm speaking from a personal point of view. The longer you stay in Ra, the more you think you have control over. The more you want to have control over it.
Yeah.
So that Ra is always active. It is. I am boom, boom, boom.
I want this.
Boom, boom, boom. You want to fight? Okay, today, let's go. Right now, let's go. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, okay, we're having a disagreement. Let me go sleep. Come back, and maybe we'll talk about it. And that's is we want rationale in a place where there is no rationale, and we refuse rationale in a place where rationale lives. This is where it lives. This is where it breathes. This is where it's and it's not the rationale of the human standard. It's the rationale of the cosmic standard.
Cosmic.
Do you know what I mean? It is the absolute standard of rationality. It's how the universe works, and even flow of body, you have your own flow. Do you know? So sometimes when you stay in Ra for too long, and then you go back to Amin, because there was times where I couldn't meditate. I couldn't sleep. It was the two things. I used to sleep 2 hours every day. And even during the day, I couldn't take a nap. If I take a nap, I wake up just even 10 times as tired as I would going back to sleep. An hour nap, I would wake up 10 times tired. And it would stay with me. Usually you wake up groggy for a while, and then it leaves. It doesn't leave. So I would be in bed, and my body would be... And then I'll start getting sleep paralysis. Because your body wants rest and is screaming for rest, but your mind won't shut off because you're in the state of Ra. And your mind thinks, I have to work. I don't know why you're sleeping. Come on, get up, work. And your body's not used to that. And you're like, bro, sleep. Calm down, And the moment you step back into Amin and you try to, meditate or try to align yourself, I was trying to control the aligning. I found myself trying to control the aligning in which it's something that happens within me naturally. I can hear a song, I can watch a piece of art or anything and feel aligned, or have a conversation and feel aligned naturally. But when I would sit there and try to meditate, when I was in this constant state of panic and Ra, I was trying to control the alignment within myself. And so it takes this disruption that you have in Ra, because now you're just on high energy, so you take it back to Amin because you're like, what, let's take it back to the source. We have all of this buzz, let's take it back to the source and try start again, because your body knows that you have a source and you have to go back to it at some point. But when you go back to the source, you don't allow the source to do its job.
Yes.
Now you want to do the job of the source, and the source is like, bro, okay, go ahead.
Don't you find it ironic, like in London and stuff, right? When people are overwhelmed with something, like Ra, it's like
Ra, exactly, like Ra. That is a lot of information. It's true, and it's like ironic. And it's like and now you're infecting your soul. Because I will tell you now, at some point in this year, from November to now, I felt my soul missing. There was nothing inside. I was looking within me, and I thought I'll find darkness, and only this tiny glimmer of light. And that was my source that I know now. But at the time, I didn't know. I just knew there was nothing. I would knock on doors, and there would be no one home, right? And I was like, how do I get myself to a space where I can even reconnect? I couldn't connect with the universe. I couldn't connect with myself. I didn't know how to do anything. So university work was hard. And I was like, how do I fix this? Because I go back to the source and it's like, there's not enough juice. And I realized it's because I'm trying to control the juice. And not only am I trying to produce this juice that I can't produce, I'm also constantly giving this juice away to those around me. And I'm not allowing the universe to provide for me. So I am a giver by nature, but I would give and try to produce at the same time. And I'm not yet a mother, and I'm not yet a universe.
The give and take back. I think that's the...
You have to allow the universe to do it. Because you get to a point where you want to do everything. You want to control everything. Time, space, speech, other people. You lack patience because like I need to do and you keep telling yourself I need to do. I need to become like that. Yeah, you know, the society wants you to become like that. I need to do. And the more you become like that, the more you're praised. And exactly, but your soul is deteriorating at an alarming rate because I would fight to my roommate and I was like, Kirsty, my soul is deteriorating and I don't know how to stop it. And she's like, Rachel, don't talk like that because when you talk like that, I know you're being serious. You don't bring up your soul unless it's something really serious. And I said, no, it is deteriorating. She said, Rachel, your soul can't deteriorate. It is forever. I said, you can hurt your soul. You can hurt your soul and it will stay there, but it will be just black, you know? And your soul's not meant to be black. It's not meant to camouflage with the darkness. You're meant to see it. So, obviously, and then obviously I took the steps into fixing it. But, you know, this conversation obviously made me connect a lot of things. But it is really important to go back to source. It is very, very important to go back to the source.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And just as a conclusion as well, I just wanted to point out the fact that I love this conversation as we're talking, forming a triangle today. I also realized that we're talking with different ages. We've got 20s, 30s, and then 40s, which is amazing. So it's like 3 generations almost, if you allow me to say that. 3 decades, it's not really generation. 3 decades coming together in order to explore this kind of argument and then the reconnection to the source from a different point of view. And also from the point of view of the life itself is a reconnection towards the source. So you come into Ra and you're meant to be going back into Amon-Ra. You're constantly there. And this is why when they talk about the fallen angels, what they're looking at, they're looking for eternal life. Because they're fallen, they don't have a connection to the source anymore. Therefore, they can roam in the Ra or in the human form or in the body or in the flesh eternally. Because actually, if they were to die, there would be no new energy of them.
There's no new energy. There's no remake.
They want remake. There's no remake.
There's no limited edition. Literally, fallen angels are limited edition.
This is quite interesting, and I think also the interesting thing and a recurrent theme in our debates for me especially is creating a routine and creating a routine that's flexible enough to enable you to do the essential elements. And it's actually understanding what the essential elements are for your sanity and inculcating them in your routine. And then also being diverse within your routine.
Yeah. Learning to be different traits. One of the important things to learn to be in different traits is to have different names. Names. For example, when people call you gay Rachel.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And when I say Jurassic, you see different things. different beings, okay? It gets easy to have nicknames. People who have nicknames so that people easily move from one state to another. So people who have been crystallized into one names that call own life, for them is very different. Wow. You're gonna see, for example, people who move in different countries speak in different languages, have different names. They are called different names. So when people who live in one place, they have one names, they speak one language. So they are being fully blocked into Ra have, have possessed them. And that state where
there's no thinking outside the box.
There is nothing.
And this is interesting because I remember, especially for babies, mainly babies have a name when they're growing up, and then you have a name for childhood in Africa, especially, and when you grow up, and then in Africa,
you have adult age.
You have like Yelina. Many people call her Yeli. You have to repeat for babies, for children, for love. When you repeat the same sound twice, that's the sound of love because you've got one, and when you have two, you have community. If that makes sense. So the baby being the loved one of the community needs to have a name that's repeated or needs to have element of their name being repeated. And someone who has that then has a strong capacity of showing love as well.
You remember me something before the ID system, the ID was actually introduced in Africa, even in Europe, to kill that process. People have different names according to the level of age.
Yes.
When you are 10, they call different names. When you go 20, you have different. When you become a nation, old, you have a different names.
It's true.
So that the ability for you. When you no, they give you a name that they call to a kid. When you become a teenager, it changes, it evolves. There is an evolution. So once someone is 60, you say, "What are you?" You have 20 names. Along the way.
Different people
it's true.
So the IT broke in actually to stop that process. No, this is your name, this is not your name. And they even go further. It has to be right this way. Because if you change just the one letter, it's not anymore. It's not anymore. It's a mistake. So that it guide you deeply, make sure that you don't move.
No, but it's funny that you guys mentioned that, because you know if someone calls me Rachel with a friend, they just say Rachel. You know, I'll respond back as yes. As we?
Yes.
Naturally, like I feel it from the tingle of my soul. Like literally, I can't stop it. I will be like we. And there's one lecturer that would call me Rachel a lot, and I would just say we. And out of natural, like I can't say yes as a response. But if you call me Rachel right after, I'll be like yes.
Yes, absolutely.
And it's like completely different. And if you just if you call me Guy like in an English accent, I'll be like, I'll indulge you. But if you call me Rachel, I would be. I feel a level of like obedience overtake me,
because that's the
like obedience. If I hear Rachel, I'll go. All of my attention will now be on you.
Because that's the way your mom called you, the way you were called as a child.
Yeah.
For me, it's with Yakuku.
Where?
Like many people will call me names and stuff, but people who know me, when they use Yakuku, automatically, that's my big sister that just comes out.
When you have an argument with someone, you go crazy. Okay, someone go like mad. What they do? Someone gonna come in, call you for the name they used to call me a kid.
Yeah.
Eventually, you're gonna.
You just
you know what I did? What I did that moment? That what I was about to introduce right now. We're going to develop it next time. Amen is one section. There is the United, the one. Okay? Ra is divided into section, different section of Ra. Okay? So we evolve going from different section of Ra. So imagine you a section 200 of Ra, of you Ra. And something doesn't go, I can't control you. I can't stop you. I use a name they used to call you in the section 20 of Ra. At that moment, I shift.
Yes.
And then I call by the name. you know what? I take you from the Ra 200 of you. I bring you to 100 Ra 20. That different segment. So when you understand that, you need what the society tried to do to erode all that system to create a one Ra when everybody are one like boxes, match boxes, and so it's only that moment you can control people.
Absolutely,
because they can't control you when you move around. Okay, if you go here, I move here, I move here, I move here, and the society where they try. Okay, you keep moving. Okay, you know what? You can't destroy the parts. No free. What they call killing the freedom. Or you can't call this. Oh, this name is not called used anymore.
Override.
Oh, this not. Oh, this agenda. They destroy. They give you one room and all of you into that room. God. So when they have run, make sure you can't run to a different rooms. Now they have full control.
Do you know what? I just realized one thing. It's like recently in movies, what you see bombs with no override code. So those what you're saying, you're describing the override code of everything. Because I realized as well, like my dad when he's talking to me. And then he has a way and a tone of how you say that name. Automatically, you like, because you think through what you're about to do next. You relax. Automatically, it's like a dog when you say "calm down," and you realize that animals, just like dogs, we also have an override code. Just like we're animals. Just so once the person knows how to use your override code, and then it just calms you down. And
that's funny because Girasha doesn't stop me. And if a male says it, if I'm upset, I'm highly upset, and a male calls me Girasha, I can't stop. It angers me even more. But if a female goes, I should stop, and they have to say at a calm rate, I would listen. But if a male says it, I'll get angry. Because in school I had anger management. In school I had anger management problems. But if Karen came to stop me, Karen would get through to me better than Ken. Ken wouldn't be able to. Ken would have to physically bring me in and be like, it's enough now. But Kahan would be like, you guys said stop. It's okay. And then I'm like, Kahan, I'm so angry. I'm so flipping angry. I want to kill him. Kahan's like, I know.
You know what you put of anger is? I just found it now. You want to know?
What? Ken. If Ken's my point of anger, I'm going to go kill him.
But there are certain music that you used to listen when you were a kid. You used to love them too much in the radio.
Yes.
Yeah. Those songs that you kicks in back.
Yeah, but I don't know what those songs are.
You don't remind them. But if they play, you're going to come. If I stay long, I'm going to tell
There's
you.
One hymn, and I can't sing in French. I can't sing. And Saint-Paris. It's like any hymn, like it's like one song of praise in French. Completely stops me.
Oh, I have one song that your dad loves.
Don't say anything. I might cry. You don't understand. I'm very unstable right now. You need to stop the recording.
You know, I find that one song that is really click into you and your father. And if you listen to that song, it just brings you down because it takes you into one fast.
Yeah.
That's why we move.
But apparently there's a voice that says Yikashel in the male voice that calms me down.
Yeah, that's him.
But when I'm by myself, like when I'm in a state where I can't, there's no return. There's a voice in my head.
That's his voice, yeah.
But there's no other male voice can do it.
But that's the thing about, again, your DNA of your family. You guys are so tribal. You know, that's what, for that role, it's like you're saying in terms of like, for you, is that your father figure, you know? For me, for example, my element is like I love children and I love defending children. So the minute I see a child in defense and calls me Yakuku, automatically I turn into the protection. So if I have to protect that child, then I will have to act accordingly. Then my energy resets differently. But if an adult calls me Yakuku and I'm like, so what?
So what now?
What do you want from me? Because that same Yakuku was also abused by adults.
Yes.
And I became Yakuku to protect children from adults. So therefore for you, it might be a case of like you had that relationship with your dad, but having been taken like through circumstances away from him at a young age, therefore you're like, well, no one else can take that privilege because it's his privilege. If you want me to have the privilege, give me back to him. Basically, so it's like a bargaining chip that you create as part of the thing. But then, for me, the interesting thing is actually when I meet friends like Sarah. You know, when we met, one of my friends, Sarah, child of Ra. But in a way, it's like we created a name for her. Satra. So
you should say Sarah, that means a man, son of Ra. Yeah. A man, son of Ra, a daughter of Ra is Sat.
That much I do know.
So we have a name where like it was a name that Joe used to use, Kajiji, to just annoy her and stuff, right? But it's a way. It's a funny thing. Is like cause she like me, you know, she can argue, but she can also get angry so quickly. But when you call her Kajiji, automatically she knows it's a joke. You know, as much as she's annoyed and she hates it, but she got used to
That's
it.
That's Muchu for me. And
Muchu
would stop me at any point. I don't care how angry I am. If you call me Muchu, I'll probably start laughing.
But it's interesting. But I don't know how also society or like especially African setting, parents created this, and you will see for children. It's either vowels or words that repeat itself.
Yeah.
You know, you have like either like a U that repeats itself or a sequence that repeats itself. Me,
Coco, Cuckoo, Pepe,
Mimi. So everyone that has those kind of names really go back into do you know I was about to say that in French because we were saying about childhood came back, so I was gonna start speaking French. I know. But anyone who has this kind of name, it's really understanding where it comes from love, and also understanding that although nicknames can be used as bad nicknames can be triggers, but in those periods, if you can tap into the positive element of those nicknames, then you can transform that into a force as well, you know. Because if you're bullied using a nickname, you have to understand that bully also has a weakness. So your name, as much as it's bullying to you, but it also symbolizes that person's weakness. Yeah. Therefore, it's an element to take into consideration.
Yeah. I think we can close. Yeah, I want to have about the weakness, but we're gonna develop it later. I say weakness doesn't exist.
You can stop talking.
Yes.
What people call weakness is one unsuit you from Ra.
Yes.
Because when I use two, when I switch you from Ra, for example, you building, you say, for example, you are this, okay? And when I be able to say, oh, you are not this, I can prove that you are not what you're saying to be, and switch you from Ra. Yeah. So you go back into Amen. Yeah. So you call it weakness. It's not a weakness. I'm just pointing you for a relation. Okay, if I'm not this, then I can be this.
Absolutely.
Period.
I can be
period.
I'm period. But a weakness doesn't exist. Yeah. So when we were doing the calendar, people were asking me, when you talk about this, the elements of people, why do you talk about a weakness? I say weakness don't exist.
It's
just a man. Yeah. What I'm telling you here is Ra. Okay? In Ra, you express yourself in this way. This is the way you express yourself in Ra. But there is no weakness, because what you call weakness is a state where you can go back, change direction. It's period. You can state of period. We don't have.
It is even an opportunity for you to make
a big opportunity. We don't have any weakness.
Yeah, it's an opportunity.
Yeah, we don't have a weakness.
Yes, it's an opportunity.
I think that's this what we call the Kemetic psychology.
So I would really thank you so much for watching, for
listening,
for enjoying this interchange. Because, like, I think it's just lovely. I might just call it an exchange between 3 generations or 3 decades.
Yeah, decades.
But I really do hope that, you know, more... This is why I'm so happy that we have Rachel here. I'm going to just start calling you Ra.
It's so funny because one of my friends' nieces used to call me Rara.
And why I just call you Ra?
They used to call me Rara, yeah.
Because, do you know why I'm Rara? Because I just feel like it's such a big symbolic move, because... It's so good to see so many young ones, age 22, actually coming back into the connection between Amon and Amon-Ra.
Hotep. Because Hotep means peace.
Yes.
So Hotep means the Ra who's in peace in Hotep.
Absolutely.
So that's your Kemetic name from now. Ra Hotep.
Yes. And then with Ra Hotep, obviously you are Amon-Ra Hotep. The Amon is the unspoken one. Therefore, you are the Ra Hotep. Okay. Amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you, yes, we'll be catching up soon. And yeah, so excited. Thank you.